Welcome to everyone. I'm starting my first video on the series about Kito, who's a giraffe, and am teaching in the books about ways that adults who are working with children can learn ways to help their child when they're upset about something, as well as the books of modeling for the kids who are struggling, what they can do to be able to solve problems like Kito does in the story. The first book that we'll talk about is Kito, and he's learning about winning and losing. I'll share the story with you, and so we can go through that. So this is No Kito, No. Kito learns about winning and losing. So the title came from an idea about what I see with many of the kids I work with, because I'm a pediatric occupational therapist. I have individual sessions with kids as well as social skills groups. And kids are really struggling to know how to handle tricky situations. And so what I see is the kids are under stress because they don't know what to do when something doesn't go the way that they expected. They don't really have a script for knowing what to say or do. And so a lot of times the just knee-jerk reaction is no or stop. They're having difficulty knowing how to handle the situation. So that's partly where the title came from. It also is meaning that our brains can be in a shutdown mode, fight or flight or freeze, or they can be in an open receptive mode where they are ready to learn. So some people might call it the red zone, some people might call it the green zone, even a zone in between the yellow zone and the red zone. I think that most kids can relate to the black and white aspect of you're either able to do something or you're not able to do something. And that gray zone is something I spend a lot of time helping kids learn about, because it's a little bit trickier to know how to navigate that zone. And so what I'm trying to do is teach kids about that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So the start of the book is the giraffes are wanting the story came because I did go to Africa and I was enthralled, especially with the giraffes when I was there. So I decided to write a story about them. And Kito is the little giraffe that's in all four of the stories in the series. And he's got his friends Kapinzi, Tajiri, and Zawadi. So they're out on the African Serengeti and they're going to the watering hole. And so they're looking for something to do because it's a long walk, it's hot. And so the suggestion from Kito is, well, let's play the game Don't Step in the Elephant Dung. And the reason I came up with that game is because the elephant dung is surprisingly, amazingly huge. And also because, so it's interesting because of its size, but it's also interesting because it is a home for insects. It can actually be processed and used. People are using it in beer and coffee, and it can be used medicinally. So these are just some amazing things that I never knew about elephant dung, even after I had gone to Africa and on a safari. Anyway, so one of the things that I do like to do is add things in the story that are educational for kids. So you'll see some things that are like that. So it's near Mount Kilimanjaro. So I try to teach about the fact that that's a dormant volcano, and not unlike Kito himself, who can be fine until something doesn't go his way and then sort of blow up like a volcano. So I have a lot of different things like that, like the word Serengeti on there. It's meant to engage children and adults reading the story to find out more about where is this and learn more about the elephant dung. And if people watching go to my website, hopskipandajumpahead.com/books, there's, and also hopskipandajump ahead.com/videos. There's all kinds of free information there. and there will be a link there to show a little bit more about some of these facts. So off they go to play the game, but all of a sudden, Kito sees that his friends are winning. And this is what I often see if I play a game like Candyland with kids in a group. Then if one child feels like they're not going to win, they are feeling just like Kito. And they, again, don't know how to regulate, don't know how to understand that they still could win. Right now, in this very moment, it doesn't look promising, but it's still possible. Can you lean into the game? Can you enjoy the game? Can you have fun with your friends? Or is it all only about winning, like it is for Kito? So he just says to his friends, I'm not playing anymore. And so I did write the words so that they sound nice. We like you, Kito, but sometimes it's hard to know how to have fun together. But really, what kids hear is go away, we don't want to play with you, which is very hurtful. And often the kids who are hearing this don't know why kids are saying that to them. And so he doesn't know what else to do. So he keeps on going with his friends because they do need to get to the watering hole. So then he comes up with another idea and he says, let's play the neck wrestling game. So, of course, this is not something for kids to really do at home. And I do have a little warning there, but it is what dress can do. And so they think it's a playful way to be. And so they agree to do that. But in this case, Kito decides, I'm not going to take a chance again of not winning this game. So he jumps the gun and starts wrestling before everyone else, which of course makes everyone upset. So this time, because they already told him no before, after the first incident, when they say it again, it really does get him upset and sends him over the edge. And because they're all telling him no. And again, he's not sure like why. And so he's yelling so loudly that the elephants who are coming to get their own water down at the watering hole stop and think, what's going on? They think there's actually an emergency. So in the free gifts that I have on my website, there's actually a game about is it emergency or not? Because that's also something that there's that middle zone. Is it emergency or is it something that maybe you could handle on your own? Or is it something that maybe you need some help with, but it's not really an emergency? So that's what I'm trying to help kids know, that not everything is an emergency, although it certainly can feel that way. And our brains certainly can tell us that. And so again, some educational aspect of the books is to let kids know that there can be, your brain can be telling you it's an emergency because that's what it's perceiving. And it's the brain's job to take care of us and keep us alive. So we do listen to that. But what happens then is the thinking part of the brain is offline because the emotional brain is so big at that moment and doing its job the way it's supposed to protect you, letting people all around know there's an emergency. So it's really hard to be in that state of no, shut down, everything's a challenge for me in this moment. I don't know what to do. I have no words to explain it. And it's hard to talk with a child in that moment. So the elephant, and this is the part where I really wanted adults listening to the story, reading the story, to understand that the most important thing that can be done in that moment is to let the child know that they are safe and that there is not an emergency and you're there, you see them, you can help them. So that's what the elephant's trying to do. And so Kito is telling the story from his perspective, and he's letting them know it's not any fun. So the elephant calmed him enough that he could say these words, but they're still emotional words, but at least he can talk and explain it. Many times kids, especially at school, can get into a situation where an adult tries to understand what happened, but the child is having a difficult time because his nervous system is elevated in a way that makes it difficult for him to access the thinking part of the brain to be able to explain. But because of the approach that the elephant had of, oh gosh, what's happening? Let me help. He's able to get the words out. And of course, it's from his perspective. Like, I don't think it's very fun to lose all the time. And my friends don't think it's fun to play with me. And that does feel hurtful. So it's understandable why he doesn't know what to do with those big emotions. So the elephant takes an assessment of the situation and sees that Kito doesn't like the feeling he's having right now. He does want to move on. So he decides that it's okay to go ahead and share some of his experiences and to let him know, like, yeah, I know. And it's not easy when those kinds of things happen. And he talks a little bit about what is helpful to him. And he's trying to suggest, plant some seeds that winning maybe isn't everything, and that even if you lose, friends still want to play with you. Friends still like playing with you. They still think that you are a friend, even if you lose. But sometimes that can be hard for kids to imagine. They understand it in a different way or perceive it in a different way and don't like how that feels. So Keto's trying to process this and understand, like, it can be okay to lose. And so the elephant tells him about the best case scenario, the worst case scenario, and the most likely case scenario. And he kind of says, well, the scenario that feels the best, even though we never really know if somebody's going to win or lose a game, the scenario that's best in my mind as an elephant is the idea that just having fun, regardless of who wins or loses, is my goal. And I want to be with my friends. So I keep that in my mind, and I'm prepared to lose because it could happen, but I'm going to still care more about the game and my friends than about winning and losing because I feel okay about that for myself. So he thinking about what I said earlier about the volcano. Oh gosh, sometimes I feel like Kilimanjaro, where I just want to erupt because I might not win the game. And I'm not sure how to handle those feelings. And so the elephant's trying to sort of normalize the idea that, of course, we all want to win and we all can feel uncomfortable when things don't go the way we like in a game. And again, they're trying to reassure him, all my elephant friends, do you agree that it's more fun for us to be connected and hanging out together than for somebody to be upset over winning a game, losing a game? And they're all, yes, affirming that. So then, because he's now sort of moving toward yes from no in his thinking, he's starting to think about possibilities. He's opening up his mind. He's becoming more receptive to maybe there is something else I could learn about. Maybe I could do something different. So now we're talking about that gray zone. Oh, it's not all or nothing. So you're telling me there's something that maybe I could change. And then I would feel like I like that better. And so he says, I could, I am thinking about something I could do, and I could remember something I did to help a teammate, or I could think about something I did for the first time, a new accomplishment, or something that went well because I'd been practicing it. So he's saying there was something good that happened with the race to the turnout mound that I can think of right now. And so he's already starting to be able to shift, reframe the story in his mind from I lose all the time, this isn't fun, to, oh, but I actually was almost keeping up with my friend and he's really fast. So maybe there's actually a way I could lean into this and end up being okay in the end, even if I don't get first place. So the elephant is trying to let him know that, yes, it matters when someone stops what they're doing, shows that they care about you and what you care about you and what you do. It does help move you back into connection with friends. So now he's even progressing more in his thinking and shifting more, becoming more flexible in what he's thinking about. And he even comes up with a plan for what to do. So he comes up with this little cheer that's on this page that says, losing, that's no fun, but I'm still safe. That's what he's learning from the elephants. It's not an emergency. You're safe. I'm right here with you. We're going to get through this. It's like riding a wave and it will go away and you'll be able to move into more of the thinking brain. And with that support, it's going to make it easier for you to get to this point where, oh, I can solve problems and I might need some help with it, but it's possible. So then he's back to the chant or the cheer. It says, losing, that's no fun, but I'm still safe. Winning, that feels good. I say, good game, but having fun, that's the best. Win or lose, I still matter. So he's got everything wrapped up into a little cheer here about his self-esteem, his connection with his friends, and his way of thinking about being with his friends as the primary thing to think about in playing a game instead of winning or at all costs. His friends are agreeable to the plan. This is something giraffes do in the wild. They do rub their necks against each other to show that they're being friends. So again, just a little educational thing for kids to learn about. And so they get to the watering to the watering hole, and now there's a new suggestion. Let's race. And of course, Kito goes and momentarily to that comfortable, familiar place of, oh no, I'm going to lose. And he starts to get worried, but then he does have a split second to think, oh, wait, I know how to be prepared for this no matter what happens. I might win, I might lose, but I have a plan and my friends have agreed to it. We can do that. And so he actually calls his friends over and says, hey, remember our cheer? Let's do it. And they do. So this is all intended to help kids understand that you have a little community. You've got people who support you, the people who care about you. You're not on your own. There are ways that help when you are connected with somebody else that truly does make a difference. And so take advantage of that. Find that person who is for you or people who are for you, because it's usually not just going to be one. And then rally and get that support so you feel like I can do this hard thing. So the race is on, but just to add a little levity, because Kito's gone through a lot and learning this, and it's been a challenge for him to take in all this new information, reframe his thinking, process it, and try to figure out, okay, I'm going to give it a try now. And so his friends also have been through one point, and they yelled at him because they were impatient and frustrated with him, and they're all trying to repair the relationship. And so fortunately, something happens that sort of the comedic relief happens in this moment, because they actually, going back to the beginning of the story, slip in some elephant dung. And little by little, they're like stunned silence at first, and then, oh, then they think it's funny. One by one, they all start laughing. So again, showing they're connected. And so everything's going to be okay. And then in the end, they get sprayed off by the elephant, because that's just a perfect ending. So his friends are all saying, he's thinking, doing our plan feels better than no, Kito, no, that he was hearing at the beginning of the story. It feels like, yes, Kito, yes. he says to his friends, and he starts dancing around. He's feeling so much lighter and more relieved of all of the negative feelings he had at the beginning of the story, and feeling lighter and positive and feeling like I could do this again. I bet I have some new tools. I'm more equipped now to be able to handle disappointments, winning or losing. Doesn't matter. I'm equipped now to handle whatever happens. And his friends again are affirming him. Yes, Kito, you are our friend. We're going to stand by you. We believe in you. And so they're saying, yes, Kito, yes. And there they are, giving high fives and saying, yes, Kito, yes. So that's the end of the story. So I will also have a colleague doing part 2 of this video, where we'll talk about some of the content of the story in a little more depth. So thank you for joining, and I look forward to another episode with you on the next story, which is where Kito learns a little bit about handling fears. Thank you for being here.